Welcome to the Board Game Network. This is James. I'm going to be explaining how to play this game called Coup. It plays 2 to 6 players in about 15 minutes. There are a ton of these kinds of games. They're bluffing games. And there's expansions for this game and other games that this company puts out. And there's Spyfall and there's all kinds of other bluffing games. This is the setup. Everybody gets 2 cards face down and 2 coins, and then there's just a pile of coins in the middle, and the rest of the deck is in the middle. Of course, the deck was shuffled before we passed those out. And here's the 5 different roles in the game. There's the Duke, the Assassin, the Ambassador, the Captain, and the Contessa. And each of those allow you to do something different. And so these face down cards represent that you have influence over those people in the court. So you're not playing these people, you have influence over those people. And if you ever lose influence, you have to pick one of these cards to turn face up. And if you lose both of your influence, then you're out of the game. So your goal is to be the last person to lose influence. So you have a reference card front and back that gives you virtually all the rules for the game. It tells you about each character, what they can do, what their effect is, and what their counter action is. Some of them can counter something. You get 1 action on your turn, and then it just rotates around until the game's over. So your basic action is to take income, just take 1 coin. And nobody can stop that. Say I'm taking income, and you grab a coin, it becomes the next player. Foreign aid says you're taking 2 coins. All you got to do is say, I'm taking foreign aid. You grab 2 coins. A coup, you pay 7 coins out of your treasury back to the pool. And for 7 coins, you get to make somebody lose influence. You say, Fred, lose 1 influence. And he has to pick a card to flip up. And there's no way to stop that. Okay, now we're getting down to the roles that actually have some kind of ability. The Duke, if you have influence with the Duke, you can tax, and taxing lets you take 3 coins. An assassin allows you to pay only 3 coins to assassinate or cause somebody to lose influence. So you pay 3 coins, you say, you know, Mary lose an influence, and then Mary has to flip over a card. The Ambassador allows you to exchange cards with the court deck. So you pick 2 cards off the deck, pick up the 2 cards you have out here, or whichever ones you have face down. You look through them, and you put 2 back in the deck. The Captain allows you to steal 2 coins from somebody else. So you say, I'm going to play the Captain. I've got influence with the Captain. I'm going to take 2 of your coins. And then the Contessa doesn't have any kind of ability, but she has a counter action. Now, all of the actions and all of the counter actions all succeed unless somebody stops them. So the first way to stop something is to challenge it. And to challenge it, you say, I don't believe you have influence with the Duke. I don't believe you have influence with the Ambassador. And if you say that to somebody, then they have to flip over a card to prove that they do have influence with that person. If they do flip over the right character, then the person who did the challenging has to lose an influence and flip over a card. Now, challenging can be done by anybody. Doesn't matter who it is. Anybody can say, I don't believe you have that influence. So once the person has been challenged, they show that they do have that influence. That card goes back in the deck gets shuffled, that person draws a new card. So they didn't lose influence, and you don't know what their new card is. They get to look at it, but nobody else does. So that's how challenging works. Counter actions are an ability that each of the characters has. Now the Duke, not only can he tax and draw 3 coins, he can block foreign aid. So when somebody says, I'm going to take 4 and 8 and take 2 coins, if you have influence with the Duke, you can say, I've got influence with the Duke, and I'm not going to allow you to take 4 and 8. So the person does not get the 2 coins. So instead of getting 1, which is a for sure thing, the 4 and 8 is possible to get blocked based on if somebody has the Duke or somebody claims to have the Duke. The assassin only has the ability to assassinate. They don't have a counteraction. The ambassador has that ability to change cards with the deck, but the ambassador can also block stealing. So when somebody tries to steal from somebody who has the ambassador can say, or the person who has influence over the ambassador can say, I have influence with the ambassador, I'm going to stop you from stealing from me. And so that stops the stealing. The captain is the one who can steal, and the captain can also block stealing. So there's actually 2 roles that can block stealing, both the ambassador and the captain. You can say, I've got influence with the captain, or I've got influence with the ambassador. I'm going to stop you from stealing from me. You're not going to stop stealing from somebody else. But if somebody's trying to steal from you, you can block that. And the Contessa, the only thing she can do is the counteraction of stopping an assassination attempt on the person who has influence over the Contessa. So if you've got Contessa down here and somebody the assassin tries to assassinate and help and make you lose influence, you say, I've got influence with the Contessa. I'm not going to allow you to assassinate. Okay, so the challenge happens, the action happens unless somebody challenges. The action happens unless somebody challenges, and the counter action happens, but that can be challenged also in the exact same way that the action can be challenged. So when somebody says, I've got the Contessa and I'm not going to allow you to assassinate me or make me lose influence, somebody can say, I don't believe you have the Contessa. And so that can be done by anybody. Once again, it's a challenge, so a challenge can be done by anybody. And then that person has to flip over and show that they have the Contessa. If they don't have the Contessa, they still have to flip one over. But the bad thing about being the target of an assassination attempt and not having the Contessa, but you say you do have the Contessa and somebody challenges, you have to flip one over for not having the Contessa, and you also have the assassination attempt that is fulfilled, so you go immediately out of the game, lose 2 influence. And the back of this just gives you a different way of summarizing those same actions. It says income, take 1 coin. It cannot be blocked or challenged. 4 and 8 is when you take 2 coins, cannot be challenged. It can be blocked by a player claiming the Duke. The Duke can tax and take 3 coins. It cannot be blocked. The captain can steal and take 2 coins from another player. Can be blocked by the captain or ambassador. The assassin can assassinate and pay 3 coins. You choose a player to lose influence. Can be blocked by the Contessa. And the Contessa can block assassination. Cannot be blocked. The ambassador can exchange 2 cards or return 2 cards to the deck. Cannot be blocked. A coup is when you pay 7 coins and you choose a player to lose influence, and it cannot be blocked or challenged. So once a coup happens, nothing can be done because you're not really using an action by a character. It's just an action on its own. You don't need an action or a character to do that. So that is unblockable and it's unchallengeable. You can't do either one of those. And if you ever have 10 or more coins, you are forced to do a coup for your action as your only action. So once again, if you can show the correct card, then the other person loses an influence, whoever challenged you. And then this goes back in, shuffled, you draw a new one. If you cannot show the correct card, then you have to show one of your cards and you're then down to 1 card. Or if it's the second card, then you're out of the game. And those cards, once they get flipped up, are just stay face up in the game until the game's over. The only ones that get mixed back in the deck is if you have the correct influence that you're showing, and then you get to draw a new one face down. And your goal is to be the last person standing. So that's how you play Coup. It's a strategic and very, it's for one of those people that likes to do bluffing type games. That's what this game is. So I hope you tune in to all of the Board Game Network videos, and especially subscribe. We appreciate all the subscribers.